Start it up. Welcome back to the MBH podcast, Money Buys Happiness. Dean, what fucking episode are we on, bro?
We're at 8.
8?
I can say that at 8.
Season 3, episode 8.
Yep.
With our lovely guest, Emily Bloom. What's
Hi.
going on?
Welcome.
How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Very good, thanks.
It's exciting. I know we mentioned it off camera, but we don't really have too many female entrepreneurs come in. So I think this will be a really exciting episode. We do have a lot of female listeners, viewers. So it'll be cool for them to kind of be able to relate and whatnot. But give us a background, who you are, what you do. I know you do a lot of different things. You're a self-made queen, as you'd call it. So please give us a rundown.
Well, thank you for having me. It really is an honor, especially hearing you don't have many females join. So thank you.
No problem.
So basically, I consider myself a sunless beauty expert. I've really planted my feet in the sunless beauty space. I have a spray tan studio in Toronto. We also have a training academy, so we educate and certify artists. We are launching a new platform that's going to teach them how to grow their brands. So it's awesome that you learn how to spray tan, but how do you generate money? We want to teach them how to do that.
Cool.
And I also have a DTC brand, which is direct to consumer. We sell self-tanning mousses.
Cool.
And that's been a baby that was born through COVID. So it's a little COVID baby.
Yes. Lots of them.
And it's been thriving despite all the odds against us.
When did you get into the space? And how did you get into the space?
I started in the sunless beauty industry about 7 years ago, and there was no rhyme or reason. It kind of just happened. I was doing personal training at the time, and I got certified just to offer it to my customers, and I fell absolutely in love with the industry and just had this drive to grow it. At that time when I started, it was very difficult because people were still hesitant about getting a spray tan. They just had this idea they would look like Ross from Friends. This is the referral I always got. Every time someone came to my studio, please don't make me look like Ross from Friends. So it was quite challenging at the beginning. And then one thing I had noticed is no one had branded in the self-tanning industry. So that's when Bronze by Bloom was born.
Yeah, that was crazy. I feel like everybody in Toronto knows what Bronze by Bloom is. This is our first time meeting, and I've known that name forever.
There was a time we were throwing events in every nightclub and every bar. We were just trying to let everyone in the city know we were here and we were a brand. We weren't just a spray tan artist, we were a brand, and we were going to be growing this brand, and we were a community, and what we provided was a safe alternative to tanning, but we wanted to really plant our feet in Toronto, and I think we achieved it.
Oh yeah, easily.
So for Bronze by Bloom, it was a tanning studio, right?
Yeah.
And I guess you adapted when the pandemic hit, right? We were forced to close.
Yes.
Right? Is that when you transitioned into the courses?
No, we've always offered the courses, but the courses have transitioned to online.
Beautiful.
So now we're doing online learning.
Cool.
So we're still doing courses every month, which has been great. And actually through the pandemic, we've been able to reach out to a lot of people all across North America, so not just Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually given us an opportunity to expand our brand in a way we didn't know we could do. And because we've been working from home, it's also given me an opportunity to really bond with my students and get to know them so much better because there's more time available for them.
Yeah.
So it's actually been a blessing in a way for our training academy.
No, it's amazing.
At what point did you decide to do the training? Because I know a lot of people that, I guess, work to become an expert or become an expert. They're always kind of skeptical of themselves. They're like, I don't know if I can really teach someone this yet. So at what point were you like, you know what? I got this. I can teach someone this. Because I think a lot of people struggle to find that balance of saying, okay, you know what? I can do it, or I can't do it. But I think you just got to go out there and try it out and learn from it, right? I'm sure your courses when they started compared to now are much different and much more detailed, and you know a process behind it, right? So at what point were you like, you know what? I can teach people this?
For sure. I definitely believe there was a complete process in our training academy from that first class to now. It's night and day.
Yeah.
We were in the business for 3 years when I decided I wanted to expand in training. I had traveled across North America doing courses with some of the top spray tan artists for celebrity, for behind the scenes, all of that kind of stuff. So we learned a lot, and we had a lot of trade secrets to offer in Canada. One thing that I struggled with when I got trained in Toronto was there was no good training. My training in Toronto was really bad. And I only realized that when I went to LA and I went to Miami and I went to New York and I trained with these super talented artists, and they just taught me so much. And I was like, wow, I need to bring this to Toronto because we're lacking in the education portion. So that's how I offered the training at the beginning. Now, my training at the beginning versus now,
of course, right?
it's two different beasts. I mean, I was learning myself as an educator. So there was a lot of trial and error, and there was a lot of mistakes, and there was a lot of things that I regret at the time, just wishing that I knew better or could do better.
Of course.
But I think that's the learning curve that happens in every business. You're not just...
I think you're not going to ever be like completely ready to go out there and be that perfect educator, right?
Exactly.
That's dope. I mean, so that's ongoing right now. How many students do you have currently?
We've trained over 250.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
unreal.
insane.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were kind of forced. Okay, so now with the studio, what's happening with that? You're kind of just idle right now, and you're...
We're idle, but we have expanded this studio. So now we've expanded the list of services. We're not just going to be offering spray tanning when we reopen. We're now going to be offering lash services, teeth whitening services, BB glow. We have a nail artist. So we're expanding the brand. We are taking on artists that we're going to invest in and expand their brand as well.
Wow.
So there's a lot of growth that's going to be happening, and we are looking for a training center. So we want to expand and have a separate location for our training, where we can be offering multiple classes at a time, group classes, and expand in that way, just given the demand for a training academy. So there's a lot of things that are happening on the growth side, but we are obviously waiting to be able to open to launch it all.
And is it just you behind Bronze by Bloom, or what's the deal? Because you're doing a lot of fucking shit. So I'm just like, okay, hold on a second. Is she doing all this stuff?
Like I want to touch on that actually. It's because you attach your face to the brand, right? Like your personal brand really matches with every brand that you have underneath yourself, right? So that's just to jump off his question. Like, did you kind of use your personal brand right from the beginning? Like use your network from, let's say, the fitness training. Like, did you use that network and try and build Bronze by Bloom? Did you use your personal network to try and build it? Because I see it ongoing, right? Like you're posting a lot, and you post about information about what you do, giving people value. You're posting about your clients, right? Community, all this stuff. So I'm interested to hear more about your personal brand and how that's kind of intertwined with
and
with
is
what
there
you're
anybody
doing.
else a part of the brand or the company, I guess?
It's me doing everything.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
figured you were
I
gonna
feel
say that. I was
sick
like, oh my
saying
God.
that, but I make my own website. I do my own social media. I did my SEO.
Wow.
Literally everything that you see. I mean, I can't take full credit because my photographer is my right-hand man and brings my visions to life.
Beautiful.
Jamie Torrance has really helped me bring everything that I do. But apart from him, it's pretty much been me building it all. In terms of your question, when I launched Bronze by Bloom, I really just did the old school method. I showed up to play. I went out all the time. It was like 5 days a week. I was going up to girls, introducing myself, giving them business cards, asking them to follow me, connecting, just building that connection, like face-to-face interaction, and just making them want to come and support my brand and me by getting to know them and them getting to know me, and that kind of snowballed into everything.
But it's cool because I think you as we mentioned earlier, like you created this Bronze by Bloom brand, like when like creating a brand like that wasn't a thing, and especially in Toronto. I mean, we always say New York, LA, Miami, they're always ahead of us when it comes to all this type of stuff, but you came in and did it in Toronto in just like such an early time when nobody was doing that, right? So like, what made you say like, hey, I'm gonna take this route, I'm gonna create my own brand, and then go so hard on social media? Because I think that was kind of, besides going out there and obviously showing your face, which is like that extra piece that people don't really understand, like when were you like, all right, cool, I'm gonna go hard on socials? Because like if I scroll down the Bronze by Bloom page, it's just like, it's days, I can go for days.
It's
unreal. It's unreal.
I mean, I just knew that I wanted this company to be extremely successful, and apart from my education, having gone to New York and Miami and LA, what was going to set me apart from every other spray tan artist in the city, and the only thing that was going to set me apart was the fact that no one had done branding. So now everyone in the spray tan industry is branding in Toronto, and I love it. Like, it's amazing to see that, but that wasn't the case back then. And I think that as much as we offer a service, a brand is kind of forever, and you can really grow off a brand and do a lot of things like go into direct to consumer, build an online platform, offer classes of how to build a brand. There's so much growth opportunity by doing that. So for me, it was a no-brainer. Why wouldn't I do that so I can create multiple streams of income off this brand versus just being a spray tan artist?
Easily, yeah. No, you did an amazing job at that, and I think you were one of the first. And so we'll just, we'll make it known on the podcast. I think you in Toronto did the whole like buy Bloom. I see so many brands. And it's like this buy that person, this buy this person. So we'll give you credit where credit's due. You were the first one here to do it.
Thank you.
You mentioned that at the beginning you were very physical with the marketing, right? Going out there, meeting people, doing pop-ups, doing collaborations. So now with kind of all of that gone for now, how have you been able to kind of transition and make sure that that message is still being preached to all your audience at all times? Which I know you're doing it. I just want to know kind of how you transition that.
I take a page out of Gary Vee's book,
Yes.
and I literally,
Love that.
I'm on my DMs all day. Like, it actually like really irritates my fiance because he's like, "When are you gonna have time for me?" And
Shout
I'm
out
like,
Adam, by the way. Shout out Adam.
I'm like, when we retire, I'm gonna have all the time for you. But right now, I'm building, and I'm on my phone all day, all night, and I'm DMing, I'm communicating, I'm reaching out. I'll shoot a message randomly to another girl in the beauty industry, being like, "Hey, love your page," just spreading love. I'll share their pages and just building the community through a digital space rather than that face-to-face interaction. And I show up to play on my stories. I do speak a lot on my stories. Sometimes it can be annoying because maybe I talk too much. But
I mean, you're the only one that's gonna think it's annoying, but you got to put it out there, right?
But they're at least seeing me at all times. And I'm talking about what we're doing, what we're working on. I also talk about my trials and errors. I'm very transparent with my following and with everyone involved in the Bronze by Boom community. So sometimes we win, sometimes we lose, but we're always honest about everything.
Of course. I think that's huge. We always preach be genuine, right? And I think you do a great job of documenting too, like just your day, right? Showing the order, showing a client coming in, or you doing some packaging, whatever it might be, you popping on the story and just speaking, right? And that's something else we preach. I think documenting just what you're doing in the business day to day shows a lot to people, right? They just see that you're on the ball and you're like, wow, this girl's working all day, every day. Like this is the person I want to work with or use their service, right? So fast forward a bit, we have self-made tanning, right? The product, the e-commerce. So how did that come to life? Obviously, we're in a space now where digital is massive, and Gary Vee is one of your mentors, I'd say. So tell us about that. Tell us how that came to life. I love the brand. I think it matches the umbrella that you're creating as well. So speak a bit about that and what the goal is there.
So Self-Made was in the woodwork prior to COVID. Okay. So it was something that we wanted to do. It was the next step for our business. Amazing. Okay, great. We offer this amazing service in Toronto, but what if you're not from Toronto? How can you get the same products in your home? So we wanted to provide the same color as our solution that we have in our studio as a product, a take-home product. And so we had developed that line and we were ready for launch, but we were not supposed to launch when we launched. It was supposed to launch a year later. COVID happened and we thought, oh my gosh, there's people home, they want to be tanned, they want the same beauty services, we're going to launch. So we really just put it out very premature, and we were very shocked at the response we got because we were still figuring out things on the back end. We were kind of struggling to just figure out the direction of the brand, how we wanted to present ourselves. We changed our website maybe 6 times since then. And so there was a lot of trial and error with Self-Made, but our customers are so loyal and we're really grateful for that. Our community is really, really loyal to us. And because of that, they have been, I have to say, like, they're the reasons this brand is
Do you
really
see a lot
growing.
of like overflow from the Bronze by Bloom network onto the Self-Made tanning?
I see all the time because I'll see my customers on the order list, or we just see like people that I grew up with in Montreal. Like I see so many people that I know like purchasing the brand, which is extremely appreciative. But we also see a lot of US customers now buying.
That's amazing.
Yeah, which is like really cool because you're like, oh, how did they hear about us all the way in the US?
Well, you're solving a problem, right? Like you said, the reason you started is everyone's at home. They still want that beauty service. And you saw a problem there. You're like, let's solve this. Right?
And a question I had for you, obviously, because now you're going from something a little more brick and mortar now to the e-commerce world.
Big change.
Yeah, exactly. And
Like
you're
I
probably
got punched in the face.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Like you said, change a website 6 times. You're learning like the shipping out products is a whole new thing, right? Distribution and whatnot. But I'm sure, and I don't want to get your thoughts on this, kind of like looking at it and saying, cool, like now when I set up my infrastructure for this online business, like how far I can take it is probably unreal. Like the lengths of how far you can grow that side of it. Like I'm sure you're seeing it now, right? I'm sure more and more orders, and as the brand grows bigger, like you said, people in the US and whatnot, right? But what does that look like for you guys? What's a day to day for Self-Made Tanning?
Oh my gosh, the day-to-day of self-made tanning is meeting after meeting after meeting, and then packing orders, and then meeting after meeting. But basically, it's a lot of strategizing because it's so ever-changing, and there's so much competition in the sunless space. So it's really about being ahead of it, trying to strategize. How are we going to do sales distribution? How are we going to reach our target markets? How are we going to do digital ads, especially with, for example, the new iOS update that's impacting us right now. So there's a lot of strategy behind it, and it's always challenging as a new brand because you don't have that necessarily. People are super the word I'm looking for is confident in your brand yet, and that's something that we all face as a challenge at the beginning. So it's even bigger when it's a product, and it's a product that you're applying onto your skin. So we are still in the learning phases of our business, but regardless of all the kind of walls that we've hit, we've managed to overcome them and come up with solutions, and I guess that's all you can hope for at the beginning.
Yeah, no, absolutely. How many months, how long now has self-made tanning been going for?
It'll be a year in August.
Okay,
so it's
congrats.
still a little baby.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I want to talk more about just you as an entrepreneur. What keeps you going? Like what keeps you motivated? Like how are you fulfilled? Like, like what keeps you going every day? Like things get hard as an entrepreneur, right? Sometimes you can make a bunch of money and you're still not happy, right? So what keeps you going?
I think if you get into business for money, you're going to be really disappointed because even if you make money, if you put your time in a dollar value, you're probably at a loss. The amount of time you put into building your brands, right? I'm in business because we've bridge a gap between providing a safe alternative for something that mostly everyone wants to be in, and that's tanned. And we provide a service that allows them to do that without damaging their skin. And if we do it properly and we provide products that are really good, that customer leaves really happy, whether it's a spray tan, whether it's a self tan, or whether it's a student who's getting educated, who's now going to build their brand and make money and be able to have a long-term career. So whichever piece of the puzzle it is, them leaving feeling satisfied and happy is what drives me, because I'm all about female empowerment and just empowering people to live the life that they want. For example, with my training academy, being able to give them that independence to break free from this job they're unhappy with, or entertain an idea of becoming an entrepreneur and watching that light go on in their mind where they're like, shit, I can do this. Yes, you can. That is really rewarding. And then seeing a customer leave my studio with a smile from ear to ear because they feel so good about themselves. And maybe they came in and they were sad because they're going through a breakup, or they had a loss in their family, or things are just not going their way right now, and then they leave the salon so happy. That to me is what's rewarding, and that's what keeps me going. Money is kind of just the perk from it, and I think if you work hard, money will come, but that can't be your driving factor in life, because I think you will be disappointed, and like to the effect of what you said, you'll never find true happiness that way.
And I'm curious, again, going back to the fact that you do all this by yourself, essentially, like how do you stay organized? How do you make sure that you're up to date with everything? You're not missing things, because like we know, like here it's fucking crazy, and thank God, I have Ernesto and our other partner Anna, so we kind of pick up the pieces. But I could never imagine being one person, especially doing what you're doing. So what's something or some things that you do to kind of make sure you're on top of it? You're always focused, organized,
and staying sane at the same time.
Exactly, and staying sane, exactly.
Okay, well, to that point, I want to be very transparent. I'm not going to sit here and glamorize and say that I always have my shit together, because I'd be lying. I have off days like everyone else, and sometimes I'm not myself. Sometimes I'm down. Sometimes I mess up my schedule. So that definitely does happen in my daily in my weeks and my days, but generally speaking, I try to really keep a good list. So everything's planned out the day before, and I try to just knock off what's on the list. Now, the days that my day becomes really crazy is the days that I didn't make that list. So that's when I see like shit hit the fan, and I'm like, oh man, like I'm in shit's creek today. But if I do that list the night before and I follow it through, then I'll manage to accomplish everything I wanted to that day.
Yeah, I actually
make those lists.
I took that on from him. I would always see him. He'd open up his book, and this guy, he's fucking crazy. He has like a ruler, and the lines are precise.
I'm crazy.
It's like insanity. It's
you would look at me and be like, yo, this guy's got something wrong with him.
Borderline insanity.
So what's your sign? I need to ask. I ask everyone.
I'm a Gemini.
Okay, makes sense.
I'm an Aries. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm an
makes
Aries.
sense.
Yeah, this guy, he's fucking insane.
Yeah, I got problems.
But yeah, no, for sure. That I agree. The to-do list is huge, and having it set the day before is kind of the big piece, because you wake up and like boom, knock this, that. You can probably properly schedule everything and whatnot. But yeah, because I can only imagine. I know we have one brand here, and although we manage over 20 brands, like we lose our shit here all the time. So like even 3-4 different brands, everything's going on from brick and mortar to
and just people in general. Like you're dealing with so many people, right?
Exactly.
Educating and whatnot. Okay, so how does the educating work? How often are you like, is it weekly, daily? What does that look like for you?
Like the courses, right?
The courses, like is it like a one set day and you training everybody, or is it one-on-ones? How does?
So they're one-on-ones, and one day would be with one artist.
Amazing.
So we do a couple classes a week right now. When we're open, we could be doing 5 to 10 classes a week. So it can get pretty crazy. In those times, I'm usually doing day and night. We are restructuring that right now because I have a son. So prior to that, I was like, I'll work 7 days a week
all
from
day, every
8 a.m. till 12 o'clock at night. It's fine, but that can't be my life anymore. So we are in the process of restructuring, like when we reopen, what is the class schedule going to look like? And that's why we believe having a separate training facility would make the most sense, so that I can actually be there all week and working there full time. And we have our apprentice in the studio doing the spray tan. So that's kind of where we're going with it. Because weekends I need for my family now. So I'm trying to figure out right now.
Let's talk about that actually, because you were recently a mother. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Massive. So we just talked about pretty much how busy you always are. So how has this affected it now? How have you been able to kind of balance it out? I'm sure at the beginning you were just like, what the fuck am I going to do? But you had to learn, right? You had to kind of adapt to that situation as well, which is nothing to do with business, right? That's a totally different ball game here. How did you kind of implement that in your life and say, okay, you know what? I have no choice. I have a kid here. Like, this is something where it's like, it's not business. Business you could say yes or no to, right? How did you take that on while you were doing everything?
Well, I mean, how did I take that on? Like we had our son, right?
No, I'm saying in terms of timing, right?
He's like, what's up?
In terms of like, I mean, like your organization, right? Like, I think that's the thing I'm trying to hit on here. How did that affect that, and how did you kind of adapt to that situation, right?
Honestly, the best answer to that is I had to make peace with all that I want to accomplish will happen. It's just not going to accomplish it at the speed in which I did prior to having my son. And I had to make peace with that and be okay with some projects that would have maybe only taken me 6 months are now going to take a year. And that's okay as long as they get done, because I can't give the same time to my businesses as I did before. I'm a mother first and foremost before I'm anything else. But having him has really impacted the way I move as an entrepreneur in a very positive way, because it's really got me to put my blinders on and really focus on what I'm doing and make decisions that really benefit my business and get me further ahead faster, because I have limited time. So it's actually really made me a better entrepreneur.
That's amazing.
And he really motivates me every day. Every day I wake up and I look at him and I'm like, you're going to have the best life. I'm going to make sure of it.
Right?
And he just motivates me to just smash my goals harder and reach higher, but also make peace with the fact it's going to take a bit more time.
Yeah, so you kind of have to accept that and just say, okay, this is the way we're going to do things now. Good. That's amazing. That's amazing to hear, right? So I want to go back to your team, because you seem so busy. Do you want a team?
Well, with Self-Made, we have hired teams, so we keep going in and out. It's about finding the right team, I think.
Do you ever use your course, for example, to kind of scout potential team members? Like you teach someone and you're like, you know what, this person could potentially work with us.
Oh, at my studio?
Yeah.
Yes, I have done that.
Yeah, okay, amazing.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
Still.
So it depends on what their goals are, right? Some of them really want to build their own business, so they can't come work for Bronze by Bloom if that's their plan.
Yeah.
But we have hired my nail artist actually did my spray tan course. So
Sick, okay.
yeah, so we will bring them on board. But for Bronze by Bloom, I am looking to expand the team. Bronze by Bloom is my baby. And
I know, they're coming into the family, right? They're coming into your circle now. So
it's so hard to like let go because I'm always like, they won't do it like the way I do it, you know? And I'm also afraid of like passing that social media over to someone else. Will I lose the value that I provide because it's not me? And that's why they come there, right? So, but there is going to have to be some help that's coming in for the next phase of the business, because what we're working on is big and we're going to need a team for sure.
That's always something that like entrepreneurs struggle with. It's like, okay, growing the team, like, can this person do it as good as me, right? And then that's always a struggle, right? But then, and it was something we've learned more recently, just because our team has grown from like just 3 people to about 12 people now. It's just the way you teach people things, and you kind of got to treat them like, like a almost a smaller version of you, trying to train yourself the way that you learn what you did. It's always a struggle. I think a lot of entrepreneurs have it, where they're just like, fuck, no one's gonna do this better than I can. But it's funny, oddly enough, you find that when you trust people, generally they step up to the plate if they're good workers or good team member. But you've probably seen it with the space as well, right? With the studio, you probably had some people who were like hesitant, and now they've come on and just killed it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
In order to achieve growth, you have to delegate, and that's the truth. And I think that's one of the hardest things entrepreneurs face is accepting the fact you can't do everything yourself. You have to delegate. And maybe it's a shot to our ego and our pride. Maybe that's what it is. Because you think you can just do everything. But in order to really grow, you do need to delegate.
And I'm just curious, a little bit off topic. Before this, growing up, did you ever feel like, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want my own business, or did you have other plans and then this kind of just came? Like, I'm just curious how that happened.
I never knew that I was going to be an entrepreneur, but I was a workhorse. I asked for my first job when I was 15.
Wow,
And my mom,
nice.
I went to like a call center. My mother in Quebec had to come and like sign this form to like let me work at 15. And I went every day after school to work. She's like, don't you want to go hang out with your friends? I'm like, no, Mom, I want to go to work. And then I got a job at the mall right away. And one thing I was really good at was sales. I could all my bosses and on every resume has always said, this girl can sell ice to an Eskimo. Like, it's insane. I don't get it. Like, I just had that ability to talk to people and show them the benefits of whatever I was selling for them. But I didn't know necessarily that I was going to be an entrepreneur. I thought I was going to become a lawyer because I love to argue as well.
Nice. What's your sign?
I'm a Scorpio.
Okay. Makes sense. No.
What's the end goal here? Like, where do you want to end up with this?
I really want to expand the training portion and go into like brand development and teaching client retention and teaching how to grow a business. And I see myself in the long term in that kind of space, maybe even doing talks and teaching on large scale of how to be a successful entrepreneur. That's where I'd like to see myself in the end. But for now, I'm happy with what I'm doing.
Beautiful.
I love my brands, and we're just gonna see what happens with them.
Keep moving.
Keep growing, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, you're building the resume. You got like the brick and mortar. You got the teaching aspect of it. You have the e-commerce. So keep it going.
We always preach the education aspect too. Like you being able to teach other entrepreneurs. It's if someone's trying to do exactly what you did or something similar, there's no one better to listen to, right? And I feel the education system. Wow, what's wrong with my voice?
Get some water, bro.
Holy fuck! I don't even smoke anymore.
That's what it is. What it is.
No, we always I'm a strong believer that our education system is flawed in many ways. Not always. I think there are moments where you need to go get an education for what you want to do. But I think for entrepreneurs, there's a new thing happening these past 5, maybe 10 years, where the Gary V's of the world, right? They're coming out and they're just saying, I'll teach you. I'll teach you right now. You don't need to go to school for this, right? So I love that you're doing that. We do consulting as well, so we know how it is. But eventually, like that's my goal too, right? To speak in front of people and teach people from experience. So I love that. I think that you're gonna get there as well.
And I'm curious, do you have any mentors, any people? I know you mentioned Gary Vee. Can imagine he's one of them. But do you have any mentors, people like Gary Vee, or even people who are closer to you that you've kind of walked this path with and use them as reference and learn from them? Anybody in particular, or?
I have many mentors. I've been really lucky, but I'm also very open to asking for knowledge and help. I don't believe I know everything, and I feel like knowledge is important, and it's also power for you. So the more you learn, the more you can apply that to your businesses. And I've been very lucky. I've had several mentors from the beginning that have really helped me and guided me with my businesses and given me great advice. But I think that, if you're starting a business and you don't necessarily have access to anyone who can mentor you, even if you are following an influencer or someone who has a brand that is really out there, you can always just try to reach out and see if they'll give you some guidance. Yeah. I think that everyone, when they're starting business, needs mentorship, because you don't know everything yourself, and to assume that you do is naive.
Yeah. Oh.
You can't.
Absolutely.
You cannot.
Absolutely.
I'm curious, do you get messages like that? Young women saying, hey, I see what you're doing. You're very successful. How'd you do it? You're my Gary Vee.
Yeah.
Actually, all the time in the sunless beauty industry. And I'll be like, let's jump on a call right now. Let's jump on a Zoom. I'll stop what I'm doing. I'll answer their messages. I've had many interactions with women that way. I'm always open to chatting with anyone who wants advice or is seeking it. I will always make time in my schedule. I think it's really important to give back. Yep. So the same way very successful entrepreneurs did that for me, I will always do that for someone else. So I do receive those, yes.
That's how we can tell you're going to win. That's
That's the most rewarding kind of messages, straight up. I love getting those too. Like, those are unreal. That's what keeps you going.
They're the best. Yeah, because someone's actually interested in knowing what you know. Like, they're looking up to you and saying, oh shit, this guy, this girl, whatever, like, they have the fucking knowledge I'm looking for. And like you said, knowledge is the most important thing. So for someone to, even take that step, because a lot of people are nervous too, especially like new entrepreneurs. They're like, oh, this person's not going to respond to me. Why would Emily respond to me? She's just so many followers. She's so busy. Yeah. But I'm sure that when you do respond, they're kind of like almost sort of blown away. So like, yeah, like, holy shit, she fucking responded to me. That's crazy.
I think it's tough for a lot of people to get started if they don't see somebody that looks like them already doing it. They figure it's impossible to get something like what you've done. So I think that's important.
Yeah, it's very relatable, right? Like, you're going on IG, you're going on the story, you're speaking, and your audience is probably looking at it like, I can do this too.
And they can. I think that I believe you can accomplish anything you set your mind to. It's really about mindset and believing in yourself. Not to say that it might take some time and you might hit some walls along the way, but I really believe that you can create your destiny, and just as long as you're focused and you're manifesting what you want, you will achieve it. And
manifesting.
It's true. You got to manifest. I mean, I feel like I've manifested everything in my life. I really, really believe that. And I think that it's just keeping a positive mindset. It's rolling with the punches. I think the most important thing to have as an entrepreneur is a really thick skin. Yeah. And when an idea fails, just know you have 10 new ones coming in your brain. That's what makes you an entrepreneur, and to really not lose sleep over the ones that fail. I call it the 30-second rebound rate. I will mourn a failed project for 30 seconds and then I'm on to the next.
I love that.
That's quick. I'm going to take that, actually. That's pretty good.
30 seconds is a really short period of time. Hey, you sure you're good with that?
Hey, not for Ernesto.
I'm stressed out. I'm stressed the fuck out all the time.
Well, listen, we're the MBH podcast. Money buys happiness, of course. We like to ask every guest, not necessarily does money buy you happiness, but what do you think when you hear that?
Or does money buy you happiness?
Or yeah.
But you kind of answered that earlier, but
I think that money is a tool which can help you achieve happiness. So it's important to value money as a tool. It gives you the tools to be able to do things that you like. For example, things that you're interested in for pastimes, any kind of way that you achieve that happiness, you're going to need money as that tool. So I guess indirectly it does.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a tool. We like to say it's a tool for freedom.
And it
right?
is.
And you know, time, you can't buy time. So if you have the money, you kind of can give yourself a little more time to do the things you love, right? Travel, you know, spend that extra hour working out, getting a run in, spend that extra time with your family, right? And not have to worry about, fuck, I got to make sure I sell this and so that I can, you know, pay the bills. Like, that's the way we look at it. But what's next for you?
In my career?
Yeah, what's next for you in life, in your
I feel
career?
like you have so much going on. Everything's next. Come on.
There's
What's
a
next for you?
lot,
Yeah.
but I will talk about one project because the rest I haven't announced yet.
Okay, cool.
We are launching an online platform for learning. So
Nice.
we are
Nice.
filming content for that and writing up a lot of courses.
Cool.
So that's the next project. And it's not just going to be for the sunless beauty space. It's going to be anyone who's in the beauty industry as a whole that is
Amazing.
looking to build their brand.
Cool.
So we're really excited about that.
Nice.
And that's the
nice,
next
nice.
step.
Awesome.
Unreal.
Awesome.
I'm gonna have to hit you up for some tanning lotion too, some self-made tanning.
Yes, you definitely
I'm
need
fucking matching my shirt right now, bro. So are you? Don't
She
even look at
wasn't
me.
She wasn't even. You need it, bro. You
I do
need
need
it.
it. I do
You
need it.
fucking need
Thank
it.
God there's no camera on me.
Not yet, Dean. Soon we're gonna get a camera on you, eh? Unreal. Listen, we appreciate you coming out.
Yeah.
This has been unreal.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are gonna take value from this, be inspired by it, probably even hit you up straight up and just talk to you. Maybe try and pick your brain about some stuff or try and work with you. Maybe take your course. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Where can everyone find you?
First of all, I want to say thank you so much for having me.
Oh,
It's
of
been a
course.
pleasure.
Of course,
You guys
yeah.
are awesome and really fun to talk to.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everyone can reach me at Bronze by Bloom. They can check me out there.
Dope.
I'm always on my DMs, so feel free to shoot me a DM and I will definitely answer if they're looking for advice, anything. I'm there.
Okay,
Cool.
I'm gonna ask
Cool.
for some advice on my
Let's get you tan, bro. Let's get you
Yeah,
tan.
we
man.
really
I'm gonna
need to-
DM you like
we need
2
to
hours.
work
Like,
on
hey,
this.
like we never met before, but I'm just like looking to get my tan on over here.
Something's going on here. Yeah, listen. If you're listening to this, just go to Ernesto's Instagram. You'll be this guy needs a fucking tan
Stop,
for real.
man.
This guy needs a tan for
Stop.
real. Well, look, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you
Yeah.
again for coming on. This has been a great episode. Lots of value here.
Looking
so
forward to seeing everything you do in the future.
yes, yes.
And hopefully have you back here too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
No stress, Dean.
We are out.
We're out.